Hello and welcome. Today we are taking a look at the Chantecaille Summer collection, and I picked up the whole collection. So we have a new bronzer shade. This is called Sunstone. So I do have Goa and Serena to compare with this. So it is going to be the same formula as those. And you can see we have a very lightweight plastic packaging here. Everything here is kind of like your stone type shape. And yes, so we'll talk about product details for that in a second. And then we have two blushes. So you can see that the coloring of the compacts between the two of them is slightly different. So we have a deeper shade, which is called Energy. And this is going to be what's on my cheeks right now, along with the bronzer. This is more of a coral. And these are both radiant blushes. So they are going to be shimmery. And then this is going to be your soft pink, which is called Confidence. And in addition, we have 3 lip sheers. So I haven't seen lip sheers from Chantecaille in a few years. They have had them out in the past, but they were a limited edition item back then as well. So it looks like we have 3 new shades here, and let's go ahead and get started with swatches. All right, so let's start off with the bronzer, and you can see we have the beautiful imprint that we see with the other bronzers from this line as well. This is a gel powder bronzer. And when you blend this out, you can see you've got a bit of shimmer in here. So it's a really beautiful, soft, warm bronzer shade. It is not an orangey warm bronzer though. So I just want to note that it's really not that orangey. So it's really going to be more of a warm brown, and it's going to be a little bit lighter in complexion. So let's go ahead and take a look at the demo, and then we'll swatch the comparisons for that. This is called the Sunstone Real Bronze, and it retails for $82 US. And I just want to make a note that my actual product is 7.5 grams or 0.26 ounces, while the website says 11 grams or 0.38 ounces. So just something to note there. There is a discrepancy on the website. We have an 18-month shelf life, and it's made in Italy. So this, according to Chantecaille, is a sophisticated, finely milled gel powder bronzer that gives the face a glow that recreates a real sun-kissed effect with a natural finish. The advanced gel powder formula uses pearl pigment technology to create a soft, aerated texture that kisses the skin with a buildable, beautiful glow, but never looks or feels like makeup. Crafted in Italy. And it's described as a shimmering golden bronze. I have to say, I think it's a really beautiful shade. I personally love the Chantecaille bronzer formula. It's always hard to find the perfect shade. For the longest time, they only had 1, then 2 shades. Now they have the 3rd shade here, but I do hope that they expand the line and include some more shades. You know, this is still not as cool as I would personally like, but I do think it's a really beautiful bronze. And I have this on the eyes right now as well, so you can kind of see how it looks on the eyes as well as on the skin. And you can see in the demo, I wanted to show you how softly it can be applied versus how much you can build that product up. It's pretty weightless on the skin. And yeah, I think it's a really beautiful formula. Now, just a couple of additional product details. It's gluten-free, vegan, and it's PETA approved. And I don't see any added fragrance listed in the ingredients. So overall, I think it's a really nice formula. If this is a great color for you, then I think that this formula, personally, is one of my favorite bronzer formulas. So if it's a great color for you, then this is a nice product to try out. Let's take a look at the other bronzers. So I want to bring your attention, this is our normal packaging here, and this is going to be the Real Bronze in the shade Goa. And you can see it's slightly smaller. Obviously, it's not domed. We have kind of this, flattened area here for your fingers. But the original here has the 11 gram weight. So I think Chantecaille just didn't make that change. Now, Goa is our deepest shade. It's also the coolest shade. So this is the one that I actually wear more often, but it's so deep that I do have to be cautious with this. So this is Goa. You can see it's going to be a little bit cooler in tone, has a little bit more red in it. And then we're going to put Serena right there as well. Now, Serena is also available in the red packaging, but this is the one that came out last summer for their Cosmic collection. And this one has 8 grams of product here. All right, so let's go ahead and put Serena right here next to Goa. And you can see how it compares. We'll also put it kind of right on top. So let's put Serena up here as well. Kind of buff that in a little bit. So we have Serena. This is going to be Sunstone, Goa, and Serena. You can see that they are pretty close. Now, when I asked Chantecaille customer service originally whether Sunstone was a new shade or if it was Serena in the packaging, they did tell me that it was slightly more golden than Serena. And, you know, it's really, although it is a slightly different shade, it's hard to say it's actually more golden. It actually seems to be a little bit less golden to me. It seems to have a little bit more red in there, whereas Serena, you know, it's got more of that gold, and the way it blends can actually be, I feel like it's a little bit more orange. Not that it's an orange bronzer, just slightly more orange in comparison. So one more time, we have Serena, Sunstone, Goa, which is my favorite, and then Serena again. So you can see the difference here. And Sunstone is a little bit lighter and softer in pigmentation than Serena. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the blushes. So these are the Radiant blushes, and we're going to start off here with the shade Confidence. And this is going to be a soft pearly pink. And you can see that, again, the blushes will have shimmer. And this is going to be a soft, it's a pretty neutral pink shade. So if you had to pick, you know, it would lean a little warm, but it's neutral. And then we have Energy. And this is going to be more of a coral shade here. And you can see it's going to be more of a pinky coral. It doesn't have quite enough orange in it to be a true coral, but it's definitely going to be a bit more coral than Confidence. It's also a little bit more, it's easier to build up the pigmentation with this, not because the formula is different. It's just the color allows you to get a little bit more pigmentation with Energy versus Confidence. So let's take a look at the cheek swatches, and then we have a couple of comparisons here as well. Now, the Sunstone Radiant blushes retail for $75 US. And again, we have a little discrepancy with the mass online. It says it's 4.5 grams or 0.16 ounces, whereas the actual product says 4 grams and 0.14 ounces. So just something to note there. And we have the shade Confidence, which is described as a rose shimmer, and Energy, which is described as a peach shimmer. And I really think it's more coral than peach. It's not quite warm enough to be a true peach, in my opinion. And again, just like the bronzer, it's gluten-free and vegan. I don't see any additional fragrance added to this either. It's also PETA approved, and we have an 18-month shelf life, and it's made in Italy. Now, according to Chantecaille, it's a pearlescent formula that sweeps a sheer wash of joyful color onto the cheeks. And that's a pretty apt, although short, description. I think it's a really beautiful formula. It actually feels very similar to our gel powder texture of the bronzer. And we have that beautiful, more of like a chrysanthemum type of embossing or imprint on the actual blush. Now, one thing to note with the packaging, again, just like the bronzer, this is going to be your thin, lightweight packaging here. And we do have a small mirror in there. I'll show you that in just a second. But the mirror, it's so small, it's not that functional. But because of the dome lid, I think that's why they did it the way they did. Although I guess they could have just, you know, made the mirror and the dome could be hollow. I'm not sure what this decision was, but I did try to actually use the mirror when applying the blush, and it's a little bit small. You have to angle it just right. It's kind of like trying to apply blush with one of your little lipstick mirrors on a case. So I think the mirror itself is just, it's a little bit too small. Now, these do retail for $75 US. So you have to really be sure that you love the color and the formula, but I do think it's a really nice formula. And the colors are great for spring and summer. So just a quick look at the packaging. Just like the bronzer, we have the domed lid. This is the bronzer, so you can see it's going to be a little bit smaller than the bronzer. And then we do have a mirror in here, and you can see it's just kind of this center area. It's taking up just this domed portion right here. So it's a little bit small, so it just makes it a little bit harder to see with application. Now the bronzer mirror, you can see, is going to be a little bit bigger. It's not filling up the whole space, but it is filling up the majority of it. So just little difference there. And as you can see, we have a click closure for the packaging. Now, I just wanted to do a couple of quick comparisons with some previous Chantecaille products. This is one of the Wild Meadows blushes, and this is the shade Apple Blossom. And let's just see how this one compares. We'll put it kind of right here. You can see that this, although it has a shimmer, it's much more pigmented. It's not quite as shimmery as the new Radiant blushes. And it has more of that like buffed in pearlescent effect. Whereas you can get that here, but you actually see a bit more of a softer shimmer with the Radiant blushes. I have to say I actually do like this formula, the new formula, better than this one from the Wild Meadows collection. And then from Holiday, not that long ago, we have the shade Akoya. Now this is a true like gel powder formula. It's incredibly silky. This is, you know, probably, it's one of the best blushes. Yeah, I absolutely love this formula. You can see how beautiful this is. This is going to be a cool pink. There's a little bit of lilac in here. You can see it's going to be pretty different from these. And the finish, though, is going to be pretty similar. I would have to say, though, if you have this, the new formula, it's kind of similar, but this still feels a little bit more luxe texturally than the new Sunstone blushes, which, again, also have that beautiful gel powder formula, but this feels a little bit less creamy. That's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just a difference. And then moving on, we have the 3 lip sheers. So they are in color-coded packaging. You can see we have a pink, we have a soft mandarin orange, and then we have a soft kind of a brownish bronze shade. And so they kind of go with the blushes and the bronzer in a way. So this first shade here is Optimism. We're going to put these on my hand here. And you can see that this is going to be a soft pink. These are basically just your tinted lip balm. And I think we got a little closer. So here's just your single sheer swatch. So you can see how much you can build that up. But this is going to be a soft pink. And I just want to show you here in the tube here. Let's extend this all the way. This is full extension. But you can see there is some shimmer in all 3 of these shades. So it's very finely milled. You don't feel it. You don't really see it, but it does give you some light reflection. Now this is a soft formula. So you can see I've actually worn this one. Let's see, I did the lip swatches, I did arm swatches, and then I've worn this once or twice. So you can see how much it has gone down from the top, which it was level originally. So it is going to be a soft formula. And when I had these in the past, I did actually end up using mine up. So I like their lip sheer formula. Then the next shade, this is what's on my lips right now. This is Enthusiasm. This is our coral shade. And you can see it's a really beautiful soft coral. And this one has a little bit more orange in it than the blush does. And then the last shade is a really beautiful nude. This is Empower. And this is going to be, it's not really a rosewood, it's more of a redwood. So we have kind of like mauve mixed with a little brown, but there is a little bit of a reddish purple vibe to it. It makes it a little bit cool. I think it's a really beautiful shade. I really like all 3 of these shades. I think they are beautiful. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lip swatches. So the Sunstone lip sheers retail for $36 US. And we do have another discrepancy with the mass, but this time it goes in the opposite direction. Online, it says it's 1 gram of product or 0.03 ounces, but on the actual product and the packaging, it says it's 2 grams or 0.07 ounces. So it's actually a little bit more product than what they are saying on the website. So I'm sure they'll get all of those details fixed at some point. So as I mentioned, they retail for $36 US, and these are a moisture-packed lip tint that imparts a sheer wash of color with glossy shine. Now with the lip sheers, I don't actually notice or smell any sort of added fragrance. They smell like they are unscented. I don't see any artificial fragrance in the ingredients. However, they do have Rosa centifolia flower extract, so that might impart a slight floral scent to it, but honestly, it's not really something I'm picking up. And these are going to be made in Italy with an 18-month shelf life. Just like the other products in this collection, they're gluten-free, vegan, and PETA approved. Now, these three shades, according to Chantecaille, Optimism is a sheer plum. Again, to me, it looks more like a pink, a cooler tone pink shade. Pretty neutral, leaning cool. And then we have the shade Enthusiasm, which is more of a coral, but they're calling that a sheer raspberry. So to me, it really does not look like raspberry at all. When I think of raspberry, I'm thinking of like the raspberry fruit, like a crushed like reddish pink kind of shade. This is definitely more of a coral with a little bit more peach in it than the blush has. And then Empower is described as a sheer mocha. And I would agree with that, although it's mocha with a little bit of red in there. And I think it's a really beautiful shade. I think all three of the shades are beautiful, regardless of how they're describing them online. Now, as for the formula, as I mentioned, Chantecaille did have lip sheers a few years back with another collection, and I really liked them. I liked the formula, and they were comfortable to wear. I wouldn't say that they lasted super long before I used them up. I definitely used them up that summer, but I do like the formula. I think they are lightweight. I like how I don't really notice any fragrance, and they have more of a little bit of a lip oil kind of texture on your lips, and they actually stay on my lips for a few hours before I feel the need to reapply. So I think they're a really nice lip product from Chantecaille. As far as I can remember from the older version, I think the formula is the same as the ones that were previous released. So if you had the old lip sheers and you liked them or didn't like them, I think these are the same formula. To my recollection, they feel the same on the lips. So I hope that was helpful. Let's take a look at the swatches one more time here. So this is the shade Optimism. And then we have Enthusiasm and Empower. I think they are gorgeous shades. And then here with our bronzers, this is Serena, Sunstone. Then we have Goa and Serena again. And then with our blushes, this is going to be Confidence and Energy. This is the Wild Meadows blush in Apple Blossom. And then we have the Aquia blush from Holiday a couple years ago. So those are just a few comparisons there. Overall, I think this is a nice collection from Chantecaille. It's good to see that the quality of all these products, the actual formulas all seem top notch. So I'm very happy with the quality and performance of the products. I do wish the packaging was something a little bit nicer for the prices of these items. The plastic packaging does feel very cheap, and having the domed packaging, it just always makes it harder to store. So I'm not in love with this packaging personally. It's functional, but it definitely, in my opinion, isn't something that adds to the cost of the product. And the lip sheers, I think they are really nice. We do have kind of like the tin packaging on them. They're easy to throw in a bag. I really like how I don't smell any fragrance or anything with them. And yeah, overall, I have to say, I think it's a really nice collection. I like it. I will use these items. I love the formula of the blushes and the bronzer. I'd actually like to see these blushes in more colors and perhaps even a matte version with this same formula in the future. But overall, I'm very happy with everything here, but nothing is groundbreaking or earth-shattering. And I would have loved to see, some other favorites, come back with some new colors, like maybe a Chantecaille eye duo or one of the mermaid eyeshadows. I think some sort of eye component, or even one of the Luster Glide eyeliners in a new shade. I think something like that, just bringing it out in a new color, would have tied this collection in really well also. So yeah, overall though, I have to say it's a nice collection. I'm very happy with it. But for the price, I do think the packaging could be a bit nicer than what it is. So let me know what you think. Please share your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope this was helpful. I'll see you again very soon. Have a great day.